Hi traders, welcome to another edition of weekly forex forecast on FSLess, which is for 10th to 14th of August 2020. In this week, I'm going to share with you guys the list of currency pairs I am watching out for next week, should in case of trade breakout opportunity. If today is your first time viewing my YouTube channel, you are welcome. And then do not forget to like, share, put a comment down, hit the subscribe button as well, click on the notification bell so whenever I release educational content of this kind, you're gonna be the first to be notified. Remember, forex trading is an high risk investment as well and high reward investment, so do not trade with the money you cannot afford to lose. Here are the list of currency pairs I am watching out for next week. I have the British pound sterling paired against the USD. I have the euro paired against the USD. I have the USD paired against the Japanese yen. I have the New Zealand paired against the USD. I have the British pound sterling paired against the Japanese yen. And then we're gonna wrap up things with a Bitcoin paired against the USD. So let's dive into the weekly forex forecast right now. The first currency pairs on our watch list is the British pound sterling paired against the USD. In my last weekly forex forecast, I discussed about these currency pairs and then I pointed out the key level structure which acts at the price level of the 1.29894 isn't a very strong key level structure. And then I stated out for the fact we had a series of clustering of price at this medium right there dated back to historical price action on this currency pairs. So therefore we tagged this key level structure with a blue horizontal line, which means it's not a very strong key level structure. But last week we can see how this key level structure transformed as a rejection zone for the bulls last week, whereby it acted as a key level support. So for this reason, we are going to transform this blue line into a major key level structure, whereby I'm gonna try to change the blue color right here into a red horizontal line. So this is still a active major key level structure. So next week, what am I looking out for on these currency pairs? For the fact we had a resistance key level structure which acts at the price level of the 1.32114, which was a resistance right here. Likewise right here a resistance. Likewise right here we had a false breakout. So this makes this key level structure a very strong key level structure we have to pay close attention to next week. As well, we have the key level support which acts at the price level of 1.29894. we can see right here clustering of price right here, but price did have a respect of this key level structure last week. So next week I want to see what the bulls and the bears have to get done at this medium right here. Next week the bulls have to defend this key level structure which acts at the price level of the 1.29894. Failure for the bulls to defend this key level structure, do not be surprised if the bears steps in to move price downward to the next key level support which acts at a price level of 1.27547, which was a resistance for the trend right here, likewise right here as a support. The bulls have to defend this key level structure at a price level of 1.27547. If the bulls should defend this key level structure, then don't be surprised. This level structure right here have high probability to transform into a new high low, like we did add high low right here, high low right here. This is a high right here, likewise a high right here. So this is a pattern of a more bullish upward rally whereby the bulls can step in right here and make a rotation of price on a new bullish wave. Alternatively, if the bulls should come in at this key level structure right here, thereby pull up price, they have to clear off the resistance key level structure which acts at the price level of 1.32114. And then if the bulls should get this done, then I wouldn't be much interested to long these currency pairs for the fact this could transform into what? Into a bullish trap, like we did add a bullish channel right here. So I wouldn't want to take the first breakout I will instead wait for the right time to see how price reacts to the skill level structure of the 1.32114 as a new support level. So next week, I have the British pound sterling on my watch list to see the reaction of the bulls and the bears at this medium right here. The next currency pairs on our watch list is the euro paired against the USD. We can see overlapping of bar right here at a resistance level, which acts at the price level of the 1.18107. This is a major key level resistance for the euro paired against the USD. To have a more clearer image of this currency pairs, I have to navigate on the weekly chart frame. So let's check on the weekly chart frame so we can see the picture properly. Here comes the weekly chart of the euro paired against the USD. In my last weekly Forex forecast, I pointed out on the monthly chart of this currency pairs, I said it's gonna take a monthly close above this dynamic resistance structure right here to notifiate the next movement of the euro paired against the USD. Maybe it's gonna be a bullish rally, or maybe it's gonna be a false breakout. We can see right now at the key level structure of the price level of the 1.18107, we can see this key level structure is absolutely acting as a resistance structure right now. We can see it acted as a resistance structure for this currency pairs that was in October 2019, likewise right here as a resistance structure. So don't be surprised next week if the bear steps in to pull price downward to the next key level support level, which acts at the price level of the 1.16071. So I'm gonna zoom in on this currency pairs so we can see the picture properly. We can see how last week bar right here did carve a high wave bar, which is a variation of the doji family. Like I always state, whenever there is a close below the low swings of a doji or a high doji, it does signals more high movement of such direction of close. So next week, if the bears should come in whereby they ensure a close below this high wave low wick right here, the next key level structure the bulls have to look out for to defend should be the price level of the 1.16071. Failure for the bulls to defend this key level structure right here, don't be surprised, the breakout right there has high probability to transform into a false breakout. That is, if the bears should ensure a daily close back into this dynamic resistance trend line right here to the next key level structure, which acts at the price level of 1.14960, then this means this is a false breakout. Alternatively, next week, if the bulls should step in aggressively, they have to ensure a weekly close above this major key level resistance structure, which acts at the price level of the 1.18107, before we can add speed for a more bullish upward rally on the currency pairs of the euro paired against the USD. So let's check back on the daily chart frame. Back on the daily chart frame of the euro paired against USD, we can see continuous overlapping of bar, which is a signal of a bearish interest. So next week, if the bears should step in whereby they move price downward, the bulls have to come in at the price level of the 1.16071 to defend this key level structure. Failure for the bulls to defend this key level structure of the 1.16071. Don't be surprised if the euro paired against the USD drastically depreciate in value to the next key level structure, which acts at the price level of the 1.14960, which was a resistance for this high swing right here. Alternatively, next week, if the bulls should comes in whereby they ensure a daily close above this key level structure right here at the price level of the 1.18107, it is better to wait for a very strong bullish price action bar right there before you can actually anticipate for a more bullish upward rally. But for the formation, I can figure out right here on the euro paired against the USD, I can see there is a more bearish interest right here for the fact we had a bearish close right here and then consolidation of price right there. So next week, I'm gonna patiently wait to see the reaction of the bulls and the bears at this medium right here. The next currency pairs on our watch list is the USD paired against the Japanese yen. Last week, we can figure out weakness in all the USD currency pairs, whereby USD was one of the most weakest currency last week. Despite USD was among the weakest currency pairs last week, we can see how the bulls right here defended this benchmark of this bullish engulfing bar right here. That is a 50% Fibonacci retracement level, which is a signal of a bullish interest on this currency pairs. For as long this 50% Fibonacci retracement level hold up price, there is still more bullish interest on this currency pairs. So next week, I'm still watching on this currency pairs to see what the bulls and the bears have to get done at the key level structure of the price of the 106.044. A daily close above this key level structure of the 106.044 would serve as point of interest for the bulls to expose the next key level structure, which acts at the price level of the 106.740, which was a support for this rally right here, as well as support right here, a rejection right here, got it at a support right there, and then at a support right there. Alternatively, next week, if the bears should carve a strong bearish price action bar right here, like a bearish pin bar or a bearish engulfing bar, don't be surprised. The bears are willing to put up price downward to the next key level structure, which acts at the price level of the 104.463, which will serve as an intersection of the dynamic support trend line, which was a high, low right here, and a low right here. So failure for the bulls to defend this key level structure right here, there is a price level of the 104.463. Don't be surprised if the bears pull up price downward in order to expose the next key level support, which acts at the price level of the 102.014. So next week, the USD against the Japanese yen is still on my watch list to see the reaction of the bulls and the bears at this key level structure of the 106.044. The next currency pairs on our watch list is the New Zealand paired against the USD. We can see the New Zealand right now is currently in a state of consolidation phase right here. To give a proper analysis of this currency pairs, let's check on the weekly chart frame as well on the monthly chart frame. But before I check on the weekly chart frame, let's check on the monthly chart frame. Here comes the monthly chart frame of the New Zealand against the USD. We can see this currency pairs is in a state of no transformation within a symmetrical triangle. You can see that is a bearish symmetrical triangle. We can as well call this a narrow wedge. We can see the transformation from this swing low right here. We had a rejection downward right here, upward right here, and then downward right here. And there's something I want to show you guys right here. You can see the continuous retest of price right here, which is a signal of bullish interest, which is a clustering of price to the dynamic resistance trend line. And then we can see how price broke this dynamic resistance trend line. So let's zoom in on this currency pairs. Zooming in on this currency pairs, we can see previous week ensured a weekly close above this dynamic resistance trend line. You can see that. And the last week, there wasn't much volatility on this currency pairs. We can see last week bar, there wasn't much, transaction on this currency pairs. So what are we looking out for on this currency pairs next week? Let's check on the weekly chart frame. Here comes the weekly chart frame of the New Zealand paired against the USD. We can see the next key level support acts at the price level of the 0.6570. 0.65670. This is the support of this currency pairs right now. We can see how this level acted as a resistance structure right here, as a support right here, a rejection right here, as well as a rejection right here, and then at the support right here. So what are we looking out for on this currency pairs next week? Take note, we have the major key level resistance, which acts at the price level of the 0.67467, which was a resistance for this trend right here, and then a resistance right here, as well a support for price right here, and then resistance right here, and then a support right here. So the price level of the 0.67467 is a strong major key level resistance for this currency pairs right now, and we can see how price was being rejected from this major key level structure. So a weekly close below this key level structure of the 0.65670 right here have high tendency to put price downward to retest the dynamic resistance trend line right here, whereby the bulls have to defend this dynamic resistance trend line in order to make a rejection of price upward. Failure for the bulls to defend this dynamic resistance trend line right here, don't be surprised if the currency pairs of the New Zealand against the USD drastically depreciate in value to the next key level support, which acts at the price level of the 0.6384 0.678, which was a support for this bullish upward rally right there, and then as a point of rejection right there, and then we had an influence of rejection for a bullish upward right here. So if this should occur right here, there is high tendency for a transformation of an inverse head and shoulder on the New Zealand pair against the USD. Like we can see right here, a swing low right here, likewise a swing low right there. So a transformation of a downward rally right there, whereby the boost failed to defend this key level structure of the 0.63848. Don't be surprised if the bears pull price downward to the next key level structure, which acts at the price level of the 0.62148, which could transform into what? An inverse head and shoulder right here, whereby this is the head, whereby this will act as the left shoulder, and then right here as a right shoulder, and the neckline would be at the intersection of the price level of the 0.67467. So if this pattern should transform right here, this is a signal of a more strong bullish interest to set the currency pairs of the New Zealand against the USD on a multi-year bullish upward rally. Alternatively, next week, if the boost should ensure a daily close above the key level structure of the 0.67467, which was a resistance right here, then it's a signal of a bullish interest. And then in order to cash along with this currency pairs right here, it would be better to look out for a strong bullish price action right here. After a first breakout, look for a pullback, and then look for a very strong price action which support the bullish interest above the key level structure, whereby the key level structure of the 0.67467 should now act as a new key level support structure. So let's check back on the daily chart frame of this currency pairs. So next week, I'm going to patiently wait to see the reaction of the boost and the bears at the key level structure of the 0.65670, as well the key level resistance at the 0.67467. The reaction of the price at this key level structure is going to give us more information about what is next on the currency pairs of the New Zealand pair against the USD. Next on our list is the British pound sterling paired against the Japanese yen. We can see the bullish upward rally from the swing low right here, upward right here, whereby price broke this no symmetrical triangle right here. And this is then after price broke this no symmetrical triangle, we had a consolidation of price. And then the next key level resistance structure acts at the price level of 139.122, which was a resistance for price right here. We can see now it's acting as a resistance structure right here, as well we can figure out rejection zone right here, and then we can figure out right here a base support right here. That was in December of 2019 structure right here. So this makes this key level structure of the price level of the 139.122 a strong major key level resistance we have to pay close attention to next week. So what am I looking out for on this currency pairs next week? Next week, I'm going to pay a close attention to this key level structure of the price level of the 139.122 to see the reaction of the boost and the bears at this key level structure. So a daily close above this key level structure of the 139.122, it's a strong indication of a more bullish interest on the currency pairs of the British pound sterling against the Japanese yen, which I stated in the last weekly forex forecast, which I stated right here is a high low, and the right here high low, right here a low, and then don't be surprised if this movement transformed into what? A high for the high right here, as well the high base right here. And take note, the next resistance key level structure acts at the price level of the 141.053, which was a support right here for the rally upward right here. That was in February of 2020. Likewise right here as a support, that was in January of 2020. Likewise right here, that was in late December 2019. Likewise right here, a series of rejection as a resistance in November and then October, December 2019. So the key level structure, which acts at the price level of the 141.053, if a strong key level structure, the boost have to break out in order to transform into a more bullish aggressive upward rally. Alternatively, next week, if the bears to ensure a daily close below this dynamic resistance trend line of this symmetrical triangle right there, then this is a signal of a false breakout on the British pound sterling against the Japanese yen. And then don't be surprised if the bears ensure a daily close back into the next key level structure. That was a previous key level structure which acted as a resistance right there, likewise right here as a support, rejection right there, as a resistance right here, and then as a resistance right here, and that is the price level of the 135.457. So next week I'm gonna patiently pay close attention to this medium right there to see what the bulls and the bears have to get done on the currency pairs of the British pound sterling paired against the Japanese yen. Maybe we're gonna anticipate for a more bullish upward rally to break out of the key level resistance structure of the 141.053 or a downward trend right here, whereby the dynamic resistance trend line right here is actually gonna act as a dynamic support trend line or a trend back into the symmetrical triangle right here. Next on our list is the Bitcoin paired against the USD. That is the king of cryptocurrency. We can see at this medium right here, we have a series of consolidation. In my last weekly Forex forecast which I held, I discussed about the Bitcoin. I stated, those who want to buy at the high level, that is the price level of the 11,706.55, are actually trying to buy at resistance, and I suggested you shouldn't buy at resistance. Instead, look for a pullback of price and then buy low. You don't have to buy high. I swear you don't have to sell low. And then after the webinar, we can see some few hours later, price went downward in the bearish downward trend. So at the moment right now, Bitcoin is back on the key level structure, that is the resistance level structure of the 11,706.55. So what am I looking out for on the Bitcoin next week? To see a better, clearer image of the Bitcoin, let's check on the weekly chart frame. Here comes the weekly chart frame of the Bitcoin. We can see the transformation of upward rally right here, whereby we have a swing high right here, we had a downward swing right there, we had a swing low right there, and a high right there, downward right there. We can see a breakout of this dynamic resistance trend line which had been rejecting price, which was a multi-year dynamic resistance trend line. This was a rejection right in September 2019 right here. Likewise right here, a rejection that was in ending of 2017. So what am I looking out for on the Bitcoin next week? On the Bitcoin next week, I want to pay close attention to the key level structure of the price of the 11,706.555, which is a major resistance key level structure. Due to historical price action on our trading chart, we can figure out right here, this was a resistance structure right here. Likewise right here, a rejection zone for price. Likewise right here, we can see a rejection right here that was in 2018, that was around February. We can see this key level structure is a strong key level structure we have to pay close attention to presently right now on the price of the Bitcoin. That is the price level of 11,706.55. Actually, I discussed with those who attended my free Forex webinar last week, as well with the VIP members community of mine. I said I am not trading Bitcoin based on speculation, but I am trading Bitcoin based on ownership. That means I own the asset. Whenever Bitcoin is in a downward trend, whenever there's a reduction in price, a pullback, I always stock my digital wallet, and whenever price goes up, I sell some of my cryptocurrency. Last week I did sold some of my cryptocurrency after I figured out price what as a major key level resistance structure, which is the price level of the 11,706.55. So next week I'm gonna patiently wait to see the reaction of the bulls and the sellers at the key level structure right there. So next week, or if the bears should step in whereby they ensure a daily close back, then the bulls have to do all what they can to defend this key level structure, which acts at the price level of the 10,448.05 on the Bitcoin, which was a resistance right here. Likewise, a resistance right here, a resistance right here, and then resistance of rejection right here, and then we can figure out a rejection influence right there as well, a rejection right here. So the price level of the 10,448.05 with a strong key level structure, the bulls have to do all what they can to defend this key level structure. failure for the bulls to defend the key level structure of the 10,448.05 on the Bitcoin, then it's a signal of a bearish interest to pull price downward to retest the broken dynamic resistance trend line, which was a multi-year trend line. And then failure for the bulls to defend this key level structure right there. Don't be surprised if the bears pull price downward to retest the previous key level structure, which acts at the price level of the 8,244.46, which was actually a support for the rally right here, series of rejection right here, and then a rejection right here, so a rejection right here. That was in 2018. If that should occur, then it means the breakout out of this symmetrical triangle right here on the Bitcoin is actually a false breakout. Alternatively, next week, if the bulls should step in whereby they ensure a weekly close above this 11,706.55, then it's a signal of a more bullish interest to re-expose the next key level structure, which acts at the price level of 13,780.87. And then if the bulls should clear off this resistance structure right here, which was a support right here in the 2018, then don't be surprised if Bitcoin has high probability to head up to the next key level structure, which acts at the price level of 16,238.93, which was a rejection for the price right here at the first quarter of 2018. So next week, I'm going to pay a close attention to the price level of the 11,706.55 in order to know what is next on the Bitcoin. Maybe it's going to be a more bullish upward rally or a more bearish downward anticipation. So these are my personal view on the Bitcoin next coming week. If you haven't joined my free Forex trading class, 3 times in a week I do hold free Forex trading webinar. Click on the link at the bottom of this video so you can get access to that class. In this class, you have access to hacks to ask me questions directly. And then if you are looking out for reliable VIP membership room, whereby you can get trading signals from me, what I do in the market, how I execute my trade, there's as well a link at the bottom of this video. Check on that link so you can become a VIP member today, so you can get access to quality trading signals from me every day, every week. So make sure as well you have a trading rules which can guide your trading activity in the market. And then do not forget to like, share, comment, subscribe to this YouTube channel for more educational content of this kind. Do have a wonderful weekend. Peace.